All right, we're going to finish up this simulation, which as you can kind of see is we're going to skip ahead until day 150, and then you should be able to kind of see which two are going to be true until we get to day 150. As you can kind of see, of course, between day 100 and 150, things are going to be affected immediately. And they'll fluctuate for a while, up and down, until it levels off, just like it did before. All right, we're going to move on to part 5. Part 5 then, one more species enters the ecosystem, which we're going to call A, which kind of looks like a squirrel here. And it's going to eat two things. First, it's going to eat plant C. The other thing it's going to eat is plant B, making it really an herbivore. In the simulation, we'll call it an omnivore, but it really is an herbivore because it's only eating plants. So we're going to set that up. B, and it's going to eat plant C. So you can kind of see how these things move into the ecosystem. We're now going to move ahead 25 days, see what happens. Okay, and actually let's kind of talk first about the fact that it is competing with these. So these are all herbivores now. And before, these were not competing. They were both eating two different things. However, the squirrel is competing with this, is eating obviously plant B, is also competing with the deer over here because it's eating this tree-like structure, which is plant C. That's competition. So even though it says it's an omnivore here, it's actually an herbivore eating an autotroph down here. So we're going to again skip ahead. Oh, how many days was that? That was 25 days. Okay, so that's about 25 days now. And so you should, of course, be able to see as soon as we have this enter into an ecosystem, well, its population is starting to increase, which is going to affect these ones. Started off at 152,000. Now it's down to 4,800. Okay, excuse me, 5,000. This one started off at 3,000. Okay, so not a huge effect, but it is going to have an effect. But every time we introduce a new species, it's going to have an immediate effect, even if it's not a huge amount like what we saw before. So at this point, if you look at your simulation, you have the information that you need to answer every question in part 5. So I'm going to be skipping ahead to part 6 now and going all the way to day 375. So if you need to, pause the video and work on the questions up to part 6 here, which is what, question 17. On here though, we're going to go all the way to day 375. And as you can see here, the population of the omnivore is increasing substantially. And now its competition, which are these two brown ones, are really going down here towards 0. In fact, it looks like they have now become extinct. So you can already see which species is dominant, which is this one up here, which is our herbivore. Well, it's called omnivore A, but it's really an herbivore because it only eats these two plants. So that did cause a decrease in the population slightly. A pretty big graph now. You can see the population here just took off, causing the population of these ones that it was competing with to decrease to zero, pretty much becoming extinct as they no longer exist in the ecosystem that we can kind of see here. So if you look at question 18 then, it talks about, for example, what happened to plant B? Well, its population, since it was introduced, its population did decrease. It has a slightly downward one. It does not ever become extinct, though, in the ecosystem because, of course, well, this is preying upon, or not preying upon it, but it's grazing upon it, causing them to, of course, that's the food source. Well, they're going to come into equilibrium in order for this to stay alive. It's not going to eat all of its food. So they're going to come into equilibrium. The population of herbivore B and C that is competing against is going to become extinct because it's just a much better or stronger herbivore. So that's what's going to happen there. That pretty much takes you to the end of the simulation in terms of new information. After that, it's really just a little bit of review. So we're going to end it there.